Yeah, this is Louisa Wilcox with Grizzly Times, and I'm delighted to speak today with my dear friend and fellow champion of the bear, Gabi Paun, who's a Romanian environmental and animal welfare activist with decades of experience in Europe, Africa, and Australia. Gabi has a degree in ecology and served as an organizer for Greenpeace before founding the Romanian environmental group Agent Green that works to protect Romania's and Europe's natural wonders, including brown bears, which is the same species as our grizzly bear. Romania, of course, shares a border with Ukraine and has opened its arms to refugees fleeing Putin's terrible war. This border region is defined by the Carpathian Mountains that are home to bears, wolves, lynx, wildcat, and much more. These mountains are the wild heart of Europe, with more virgin forests than the rest of Europe altogether. Gabi calls these primeval forests, the lifeblood of this world-class ecosystem. This landscape is the focus of Gabi's most recent inspired vision to create, when this war is over, a peace park on the border between Ukraine and Romania to not only protect habitat for wildlife and maintain the region's unique cultures and fascinating traditions, but also to symbolize hope for the future. But before we get to that, a little more on Gabi. And of course, bears. Can't avoid bears since we're Grizzly Times. Gabi's enjoyed enormous successes in his career, stopping the spread of genetically modified crops in Romania, exposing illegal logging in the country's forests, for which he's been almost murdered several times, and investigating and exposing the cruelty of the live animal export industry. In 2016, Gabi won the prestigious European Environmental Award, EuroNatur, which was also awarded to Nelson Mandela and Mikhail Gorbachev. Given the richness of the Carpathian Mountains, it's no surprise that the range is home to the largest population of brown bears in Europe, maybe 7,000 bears. And this compares to a total of just 2,000 or so grizzlies in the contiguous United States. Notably, Romania and Ukraine's bears have lived cheek by jowl with humans for thousands of years, with a human population as dense as what you find in Appalachia. A fact that should put to shame anybody in the Northern Rockies who claim that we have an intolerable number of grizzly bears. During recent months, Gabi and his Agent Green team have been transporting, housing, and providing for mothers and children fleeing Ukraine. But Gabi's also been thinking about the environmental side of this terrible war, which is what he wants to talk to us about today. So welcome, Gabi. It's so good to see you.
Same here, Luisa. I want to thank you so much for this very warm, welcoming, and very detailed introduction. And really, thank you for having me here for your audience here, which I'm very happy I can address to.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for taking the time. I know you're really up to your eyeballs with everything. So let's just start with, how are you and your team holding up in the shadow of this war? And what's it like to be near ground zero, caring for families fleeing Ukraine?
Well, I still remember how the news struck us all on 24th of February. It's been now 2 months, and that memory is very vivid in my team's minds and hearts. We suddenly felt unsafe. We felt that we were entering a period of uncertainty, and we felt the blow of that war being just over the fence, Ukrainian being our direct neighbor, north and northeast of Romania. And my team started to feel that they would like to do something to help. Normally, we're an environmental organization, so we would normally do just nature work. But since it was the personal will of my team members to help, I encouraged that pretty much. And first of all, we went to the borders where the refugees were crossing. There are two main points where they are coming from Ukraine, and to make an assessment of where could we actually help. And we decided that it would be this niche of women and their children who would need transportation, a warm meal, a hug, and a new home, or at least transit Romania to further destinations. And we have been doing that for a while. And then there were others doing it very well. So we stepped in, and then we stepped out, because then the authorities have been waking up. It was funny again that the NGOs were more organized than the state itself. And
That's
in the
not a
beginning, it
surprise.
was, it was mostly NGOs helping, organizing everything, and now things are running smooth. There is permanent presences at the border. I've been there myself as well. In the second phase, working also with animal rights organizations to try to save not just people but animals. So we've been working with animals in let's say most urgent need. Unfortunately, there is plenty of wild animals being held in not just in zoos but in private ownership. And imagine what happens when people leave and the animals are being abandoned. So we've been pioneering a little bit to do extraction of a lion from Zaporozhye, which is the location where is this biggest nuclear power plant in Europe that was under siege for a while. We've been able to take out. It was a wonderful joint work of various groups and individuals with no not proper equipment or experience in doing such things. And the mission was successful. A lion named Simba and the female wolf called Akiva. We brought them safely into quarantine in Romania, and from there the lion will finally go end of May or so in South Africa, in a place where there is no can hunting. You can be assured that Simba will live the rest of his life with his paws touching green grass and enjoying sunshine. And the wolf will stay in Romania because there is a place in central Romania called Liberty Sanctuary, and it's basically a fenced natural habitat where the wolf would be living the rest of her life in freedom. And right now, I'm working on a larger operation in Odessa, which is expected to be attacked by the Russians very, very soon, any moment. 10 more lions must be extracted from there. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really, really difficult. And my heart beats with, I coordinate things pretty much, but my heart beats with those having the courage to be there. I was for a few days in Ukraine, and I have seen the things with my very own eyes. And it was more than enough for me. My feelings are not yet settled with what I have been seeing and experiencing. And I think it might take a while until this would be settled somehow. And anyway, altogether, it was a big shock to jump from pandemic to war. I think it gives me mixed feelings, and I imagine it might be the same for every inhabitant of our planet, to go from pandemic to war, which is affecting us all. I mean, this war happens on Ukrainian soil, but the whole world is involved and affected.
Absolutely.
We can see it at the gas station. We can see it in the supermarket, in the price of the food, which is raising. We can feel it in our bones entering this period of uncertainty and insecurity, and we have no idea how long this will last. So we've been frozen as a team for a couple of days, and then we decided to help, and then we decided that the best thing we can do is bring normality in this world of chaos and keep doing our work. So we're back at work, continue our advocacy at all levels. We're protesting with lobbying. We're in Romania, we're having trials against perpetrators of nature and we are escalating to European Commission, which is a sort of a government of Europe, when Romania is misbehaving and breaking nature laws of Europe. We are doing all that, yeah.
Well, thank you, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend, for saving these animals, for getting involved, and for not looking away. And I think if anybody had any doubt about the interconnectedness of us all, both the pandemic and this war have shattered that notion. I mean, whether you live in Montana or Austria or the far reaches of Africa, we are all connected in a very profound way. And I think, if we can't learn that lesson now, we will never get through this.
Yeah.
But Gabi, to your vision, I was so excited when I read about this inspired idea of a peace park. So maybe you can share with us a little bit about what inspired you and what do you hope to accomplish with this park?
Actually, I was in southern Spain when the idea came, so far away from the war, far away from Romania and Ukraine. It's actually where the start of the war got me. I was investigating live export. You mentioned in the introduction, I'm working on that as well. I mean, live export of farmed animals, cattle and sheep. It's a incredible, horrible industry which operates at global level, basically transporting live animals onto floating ships from South America to Middle East or North Africa, from Europe to those destinations, or from Australia to those destinations. It's absolutely unnecessary cruelty. And I was with a Spanish and a French TV crew in Cartagena, southern Spain, filming loading of these animals, French and Spanish animals, onto vessels for destinations in North Africa and Middle East. And at some point, we finished the work, and I was, before resting and going back to my homeland, Romania, and to Ukraine to start helping people and animals. And before falling asleep, a vision in the form of a dream came. And it was simply this idea and the vision of a new national park. So it came from nowhere. Somehow I was just awakened from that dream before falling into the deep sleep with this idea. Because I was buried in sadness and depression. I'm a nonviolent person. I don't like guns. I don't like spies. I don't like spending money on armies and on these warships. I think we can spend those money for better things. But the world is as it is. And in all this sadness, this opportunity came in my mind. And I thought at least we can do that. So I had enough time while traveling to Romania to make the necessary phone calls to create the premises for this national park. It came to my ears before that such parks exists or are on their way to exist in some places in the world. For example, I knew that USA and Canada have two peace parks, which is wonderful. It's a form of consolidation of the relationships between two neighboring countries, and it's a wonderful, positive thing to do. And Romania and Ukraine, we were just neighbors, nothing else before that war. But this war created the premises for more than that. A friendship has been born. We had the chance to see Ukrainians, and Ukrainians had a chance to see the kindness of the Romanian people, which mobilized in a way which I have never seen before, welcoming families and people who we never seen before into our homes for undetermined time, and offer them shelter and food and comfort. So a great friendship has been born. And I think that spreading kindness, it's the key. And why not doing that and apply that also for the nature that unites the two countries. We have, let's say, in northwest of Romania, forests have been heavily damaged by illegal logging on the Romanian side, but more to the northeast of Romania, the forest remains in a very good state of conservation. The local people took better care of those forests at both ends, in Ukraine and in Romania. So I have been using this travel time from Romania, from Spain to Romania, to call a couple of good scientists from universities in Romania who are actually at the border with Ukraine, University of Suceava. Suceava is a county and capital city is also Suceava, northeast Romania, bordering with Ukraine, having a crossing point and wonderful nature. There's a wonderful valley called also Suceava, and the springs of Suceava and the valley of Suceava surrounded by wonderful mountains, undeveloped communities, no infrastructure for tourism, no source of income. But somehow they managed to live in harmony with nature at both sides in Romania and Ukraine without hurting nature too much. And it's funny, Ukrainian and Romanian language have nothing in common. Ukraine would be a Slavic language, Romanian would be a Latin language. But believe it or not, if a Ukrainian and a Romanian from that area are meeting in the forest, they would be able to understand each other because there is a certain dialect in the area for both sides, which should make them understand each other. They've been coexisting for centuries, and that's really wonderful. So we share nature, we share culture in this very local area. And the teacher of geography from University of Suceava was more than excited about this project. His nickname is Hans. So together with Hans, we went when the snow was not melted yet in those forests. We've been doing the first scientific assessment of the forest stands in that area. And it's absolutely magical. It's really mixed forest, soft woods, hardwoods, very nice rivers, plenty of moisture, not really affected by climate change yet. And that's wonderful. So the first step in science has been made. In the second stage, I've been contacting the county council president of Suceava County. And we've been knowing each other since 15 years when he was Minister of Agriculture and Forest with the GMO campaign. You mentioned my campaign against genetically modified organisms, so he remembered me because of that campaign. He said, "Oh, Gabi, here you are again. What do you want this time? Are you coming in peace?" And say, "Of course I come in peace. There is plenty of war around. We have to make peace. We have to make Peace National Park." And I felt his heart was singing, and that was wonderful. So he likes the idea. He likes the idea. And when you have scientific support and local political support, then the next step is that the university will contact their counterparts in Ukraine. There is the first city on the other side has an university. The city is called Chernobyl, and there is a very good nature cathedral in that university, and the two universities will work together with us to make the necessary scientific study for fundamentation of the national park. And while this president of the county council in Romania will contact his counterpart on the other side to make it possible. It's of course politically extremely sensitive. We would have to care of all those historical sensitivities. They do not freak out that this is a bad intention from the Romanian side. You know, that area used to be Romanian land before the Second World War. So we don't want to give them that impression that we want our country back. No, it's not about that. Ukraine is Ukraine. It's a sovereign state. Romania is a sovereign state as well. Borders have been designated at the end of the Second World War. Ukraine has been born a bit later, when at the fall of the communism, and we just want to consolidate this friendship. So, but we have to handle it with very, very much care. So the premises have been created. There is scientific basis, there is political will. We just need to make those steps as fast as possible. I believe that for best recognition, the presidents of the two countries should speak about it and agree on it. And if President Zelensky and President Klaus Johannes in Romania will shake hands on that when they will have time and some air to breathe in these crazy times, I think we can move on with full speed.
Wow. It seems like you've really set the groundwork for this. I mean, and got a lot of momentum going even in this, incredibly tough time. So congratulations. That's
Thank you. You gotta be a doer. I mean, when you have a vision is nothing without action. So
yes.
And action needs to be taken either at the right time, or if there is a reason to wait, or start immediately, like it was the case now. I got a vision, I had a good sleep, I traveled to Romania, I make the necessary calls, the necessary meetings and trips, and things are moving. So I think we need to press gas right now.
Press gas, that's great. So Gabi, you also had the idea of establishing a peace route, of one that it sounds like would be the longest in the world, that would cross the whole Carpathian chain from the Czech Republic to Serbia, crossing Poland, of course, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Romania. And, as you say, the path would transcend political boundaries. So, Gabi, why a peace route also? And what would it be like to traverse it?
I believe a peace route, it's necessary. It's necessary. Eastern Europe has been, it's been the source of all world wars so far, and it was always the battlefield for world big powers. And coming together in a positive project like that, I think it would be a strong signal that Eastern Europe is united and not divided and not the source of war. And it's the Carpathian Mountains as a chain that have been historically a border between East and West.
Right.
Yeah, and why not making that the things that unites the East and the West? I thought in my perhaps narrow mind, but very open to new things. And this could be a more like a medium long-term project, but far from impossible. As we speak, a German citizen heard about this. I don't know how, but he's been contacting me and he started to walk it already.
Wow.
And he offers to show us at the end where this could go geographically as a route, because it doesn't exist yet.
Right.
And he's making it happen. He started a month ago already, and he plans to finish it by the end of July. He just called me yesterday that he entered Romania from the north. So he's been, a very fast guy, very fast guy. And so it's nice that an individual is walking peace trail already. It's a bit awkward, but very heartwarming. It makes me want to be there, but I have to be busy here making it happen.
Right.
And since the Carpathians are quite a long chain of mountains being born at the same time with the Alps, with the Himalayas, with the chain of mountains in Western North America and Southern America. Yeah, it's a couple of thousands of kilometers crossing many countries, some of them being part of European Union, some of them
Mhm.
not.
Wow.
Uh, some of them supporting a side of the war, some of them the other side of the ongoing war. So that's why I believe it's gonna take a while.
Yes.
It would start in Czech Republic. It will cross Ukraine, Poland, Slovakia, Romania,
Mhm.
and in the end, reaching the Danube and crossing on the other side of the Danube River in
Mhm.
Serbia. So quite a
Mhm.
long, challenging, not only for us who will walk that trail, but also for those people in charge of these countries with all the sensitivities around it.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
I believe in this trail and it makes so much more sense. And I believe that once peace will be restored and world order will be settled for all of us to live in peace forever after this war, there will be plenty of people around the world uh, who would be willing to walk this trail. It's wonderful. It's going
Mhm.
from uh, a very harsh climate in the north to a very mild sub-Mediterranean climate in the south. So from the
Wow.
climatic point of view, it's very very dramatic. Also from the landscape point of view, also because of the forests and the rich biodiversity, it's gonna be very challenging. You would have the chance to meet all kinds of species, from the
Right.
bromber, our common species. I mean, Grizzly is the same species like the brown bear we have here. They're just different subspecies. They just
Mhm.
said goodbye when the ice uniting Eurasia and North America said
Right.
goodbye when the ice melted. They just
Right.
went different ways and had a little bit of different evolution, but are the same species. So people who would come on this trail would be able to meet them into the wild. I meet them regularly, and I would say, don't be afraid of them.
Mhm.
They're more afraid of you than you're
Right.
afraid of them. Uh,
Right.
it's so simple when I meet them. By the way, I've been recently in a very awkward, risky situation. A mother bear with her three cubs were being chased by a male bear
Uh-huh.
looking for a mate.
Right.
It's mating
Right.
season,
Yes.
and the mother was not ready to let the babies go because only 1 year old, and the
Oh,
babies,
okay.
the
Very
cubs should
young.
stay
Yeah.
2 3 years
Right.
with their
Right.
mom,
Right.
yeah, to learn all the things they need to know before making their own life.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing from the wrong direction, from her
Uh-huh.
to me, not from
Uh-oh.
me to her, so she
Uh-huh.
couldn't smell me, and
Right.
she was rapidly coming towards me. And I say, okay. And I saw the big, really big man chasing her. And all I had to do is to clap my
Uh-huh.
hands, make an
Right.
unnatural sound
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
for the wild. She has not hesitated to change direction, and the cubs following her, and the big male continue after her. So if it's really a wild bear which is not used with human presence,
Mhm.
they would avoid any confrontation and
Yes.
coming
Absolutely.
near a person. That's a
Mhm.
normal behavior.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so you would be able to meet brown bears. Not so many in Ukraine because Ukraine is known to only have like 200 brown bears.
Right.
There was
Yeah.
plenty of hunting.
Right.
Romania is thought to have around 7,000, like you mentioned before, but the precise number is not really
Right.
known because a proper scientific study, including DNA samples, has not been done yet. But yeah,
Right.
that's with the Peace National Park and the Peace Trail. There's these two
Right.
projects very close to my heart, and I will not have proper rest until they're done.
Mm. Yes. Well, you above all are the most tenacious person I know. I see this vision happening with your heart and soul in it. So, well, your story about the bear. So it's a nice segue into your work on brown bears and wolves and wildlife in Europe. And when you were here in the U.S. a few years ago, we spent many nights talking about coexistence and how we can live in harmony with bears. And maybe you can give us a brief update more broadly than you have yet about how your work is coming along.
Oh, Luisa, I've learned so much when I visited you and Yellowstone and the surroundings and the communities. Learning to coexist and to co-adapt with the grizzlies, and things were going well for a year. I think I've been visiting you September 2018,
Yep.
and believe it or not, in 1 year after that we got a governmental decision, which was a sort of a national plan for action to ensure coexistence and co-adaptation of humans and brown bears. And we were so happy because that plan was so comprehensive, including education of communities, protection of communities with non-lethal measures, including those basic electric fences to protect
Right.
households. Imagine
Wow.
in Romania, uh, brown bear habitat is neighboring directly with human settlements,
Right.
and there are villagers who do have farm animals, chickens, pigs, cattle, sheep,
Right.
and it's literally an invitation from the brown
Right.
bear to come
Yeah.
for easy food like in a supermarket.
Right.
There is nothing stopping them. Therefore, we have so many conflicts. And with this national plan, this was supposed to come to an end. But also education of people living in the cities who are trekking so much into the wild and have no ideas how to interact with the bear. And we have
Right.
so many dramas in both villages and in the
Right.
habitat. Plus this
So
terrible,
similar.
yeah, and there's this awkward trade with people going to where the bears are, where the mother bears are making their cubs and entering the nest to steal the cubs for traffic for whatever reasons. Nobody knows,
Oh.
but it's a common practice, and
Oh.
plenty of people who have been who lost their lives in their attempt to take the cubs away for whatever reasons. I really
Well,
don't know what's with the traffic. We were not able to investigate what they are doing this,
yeah.
but it happened. And
Oh dear.
but sadly, this plan is just on paper and nothing happened. And then the minister changed, and
Right.
since 2 years, we have the worst minister Romania ever had. He's hand in
Wow.
hand with the hunters, and he turned the ministry from the ministry who were supposed to ensure coexistence and co-adaptation and mitigate those conflicts into a ministry which is instigating for persecution of the species, and doing nothing from that plan.
Right.
And we are in a situation which we never had in the history, and that's really really bad. I mean, like, bear was not having enough challenges with climate change.
Right.
By the way, climate change is affecting Romania very very hard. For the very winter is no longer winter.
Right.
I mean, we used to have snow. It's same like Yellowstone area.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
used to have snow from October to April.
Right.
Now it's barely coming. It's not
Right.
permanent during the winter. It's mostly coming at the end of the winter, like now. And you can imagine what it means for the cycle of the life of the bear.
Yeah.
There was never about hibernation, but it was a very long winter sleep.
Right.
You can see bears looking for food in January.
Oh, right.
You can see bears waking up with their cubs roaming in March, but then the snow comes back. In
Right.
many cases, mothers don't survive. The
Right.
cubs are away. coming to human settlements. So they are
Right.
1, 2 years old, looking for their place, looking for
Right.
easy food. They get habituated, and in the end, what happens? They are being shot.
Right.
While the authorities are still not trained nor equipped to chase away the birds from human settlements. Imagine or not, they're using that vuvuzela that they're using in football stadiums
Oh,
to make
yeah.
noise to chase them away.
Oh, right.
They do not have those non-lethal guns with rubber bullets
Yeah.
to chase them
So
away.
that's
It just chasing the bears away with noise. It doesn't bother them. It's
right. They get used to it.
yeah. So we have the climate change issues. They're coming out. No food. Winter is coming back. Then it's going away. No food, and they are basically forced to go towards human settlements to look for alternative kind of
Oh,
food. Uh, then all the hunting association have started to feed the birds in the previous years in the forest, habituating them basically. We are totally against feeding the birds because
right.
that's the first step to habituate them,
Yes.
get them used with humans. The commission, the European Commission, says that that would be legal. Stop doing that. They have been
Right.
doing that anyways. It is like seduce and abandon the bears. When they stop doing that in the forest, they are coming to the human settlements because they've been feeding them with maize. So they're looking for maize, which is highly nutritious,
Yeah.
full in fat, and then are now coming for their maize at the edge of the villages. Plus destruction of the habitat. There's been so much illegal or legal but unsustainable logging, where the habitat has been fragmented and destroyed, and now human persecution. So these
Right.
three challenges, climate change, habitat destruction, and human persecution, it's putting the species in danger pretty much. And regardless if we have 3,000, 7,000, or 10,000
Yes.
brown bears, they're in danger.
Yes.
They're in
Yes.
danger because of all these three combined threats
Right.
together.
A wicked, wicked combination. I mean, yes. And oh my God. I mean, we've had such a political backlash here too in Montana, in the States against bears. I mean, it feels very similar to what you're facing. Yes, we made progress, and yes, many of the plans are simply on paper and they don't get implemented. You know, the commitment to resolving conflicts non-lethally. I mean, we're seeing these celebrity bears in Grand Teton Park, 6 of them last summer were killed. And yes, there were people feeding them. And yes, you know, all the same problems we share. So, you know, you just hope that there is a public out there that rises and picks up the weight, because you've carried a lot of the weight for so long. And of course, you're not done yet. You got a lot more ahead of you. So yeah, it's hard.
I believe the fight is permanent, and as long
Yes.
as we fight, we have a chance. If
Yeah.
people like us let go, then the chance is gone. It's wasted.
Yes.
And perhaps it will be easier with, I imagine now, after experience all those things, like it's a problem which unites USA and Romania. Actually, we have the very
Yes.
same problem, and politics are politics, but I believe in the solution I have seen in some parts of the US around the Yellowstone, where we have been
Yeah.
visiting. Uh, when NGOs are working together with local communities
Yes.
for in model projects for co-adaptation and coexistence, then it works. I have seen farmers. What was the name? Blackfoot or Black?
Yeah. Blackfoot Challenge in
Yeah,
Glacier Park. It's fabulous.
it
It's
works.
exactly. It totally is effective. It totally
I've
works.
seen it working, and
Mhm.
it's not only that it working for people and birds to coexist, but
Mhm.
I have seen mountains united by valleys reopened for the bears to roam
Yes.
free, because
Yes.
I think very few people would know that the natural habitat of the brown bear, the grizzly bear, it's not up in the mountains.
No, no.
These are refugees.
Mhm.
They are happy to live down in the plains, by the rivers, in the
Yeah,
grasslands, in the
yeah.
bushes. So what I have seen there in the Black Food Challenge, it's really, really the way forward. I believe that that model should be replicated. Sometimes things happens, but they are learning by doing. It
Exactly.
it's working by being uh, both proactive and reactive. When something happens, it's not a big drama. They
Yeah.
learn from that drama to create a solution, and it works. Whatever you have, uh, fruit trees, plants for feeding ourselves, or farm
Mhm.
animals, sheep, cattle, chickens, they
Mhm.
have found the solutions. Waste management,
Right.
roadkill, everything is been handled with care. So I believe that politics should look at those projects and replicate it. Um,
Absolutely. And there are more projects like that coming online all the time. Right on the border of Yellowstone, there's a group of ranchers. They're doing fabulous work. It's the exact same thing. You know, where their hearts are open to bears. They're figuring out where their problems are. They're dealing with it. It doesn't mean that all bears, you know, will live, but it's peace. You know, along the lines of the premise of this conversation. It's peace, which I
yeah,
think is something peace and compassion and an open heart, and to your sensibility, action. You know, you're a man of action. So, yeah, all of those things. So Gabby, one last question. I mean, these are such challenging times that we're living in, and I'm curious as to what you're doing, and maybe you and your team are doing, to take care of yourself, you know, physically and emotionally in this time of war and COVID.
mm, phew, first of all, when this started, while I was in Ukraine, I got hit by COVID, and I managed to stay away of it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And regardless if I was triple vaccinated, I got it. And I got it when I was there in Ukraine, and I had to interrupt my trip. And it's been a month since then. It's been very hard on me. I'm only like 20% recovered. It looks like it's gonna be a very long recovery.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean,
Wow.
my advice. I mean, I see this virus is really unpredictable and can be very, very violent to our bodies. Some people simply go through it without even noticing it, and
Yes.
some of us, regardless of our lifestyle, we may be hit very hard. I'm sporty. I'm eating organic. I'm eat plant-based. I'm careful with my sleep. I live a healthy life, and still I was hit hard. But perhaps is one thing which was not all right in my life, and that is the stress from the work.
Right.
And that might be one
That,
factor which is very, very bad. And then what me and my team are doing now, we're trying to uh, handle our stress better, try to avoid taking all the negative energy which comes not only from work but of all the challenges that comes with our very confrontative work. And
right.
we're promoting positive communication both in the outside world and inside the organization. And we
Hmm.
have been switching completely in our organization for heart-based leadership. uh, a heart-based leadership is something uh, new for us. We're experimenting it, but it looks like it makes our heart sings, and that's the most important thing that could happen, because everybody is working now with joy. We see
Hmm.
all the effects we are having from industry, from government,
Hmm.
not as negative things, but as opportunities and challenges to make things better. And yeah, somehow this helps. And heart-based leadership, it doesn't mean that uh, we are getting soft. it means the opposite. We are getting stronger because we admit our weaknesses, we admit our vulnerability. We are practicing to say, I don't know, don't pretend that we really know everything. And it's about helping each other from equal to equal, forget about hierarchies, and really working together and create a positive mood and positive energy in the team. And this is being seen by the world outside,
Of course.
and that inspire others to go in the same way. So that's how we are handling basically our health and emotions and everything about what is happening in these times of very high uncertainty and risky situations. Of course, there's a corner in our mind which thinks, what happens if this work escalates and so on. But we can't live in fear. We can't live in fear. If we stop doing what we're doing, then we're like already dead. And there is nothing that makes you feel more alive than taking action for things that you believe in. And we believe in kindness, we believe in defending nature, people, and animals.
Well, Gabi, my heart is singing just talking to you. I mean, this is so inspiring. You're so close to the thick of everything, and you've had such a tall mountain to climb, and yet you're still climbing, and you're fearless, and your heart is open. It's so good to see you, my friend. I so hope you feel better. It is a long recovery. I mean, I've got through COVID myself. It's a long recovery, but we're in this together. We're connected, and connected in so many things: a love of bears, a love of nature, a love of this place that we get to take care of. We get to do what we can. So thank you, Gabi. This is Louisa Wilcox with Grizzly Times, and I'm so happy to be here today with my friend Gabi Paun. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa, and thank you for everyone who had the patience to listen to us until the very end, and a big hug.
Big hug, bear hug.
Bear hug. Bye.